Thank you, Ali. We can start? Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Committee of Adjustment hearing for the Scarborough District. This is the afternoon 1:30 p.m. session. Today is August 25th, 2021. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, which is an online digital platform, and streamed onto the City of Toronto's City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and a provincial order that limits attendance at public gatherings. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx, which is an online event that is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer or a phone or a tablet app. All participants will be automatically muted upon entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. Any registered participants will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices, all your devices, until you are called on to speak. For Scarborough, we acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with Mississaugas of the Credit and the Williams Treaty signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that applies to a property, permissions to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone in attendance today who wants to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and an email address, because Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal, the OLT. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. In terms of the hearing procedure, I will call out each item in the order listed on the agenda. When making your submissions, where an application is uncontested, the agent or the applicant will proceed with a presentation if required. The committee may ask questions or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or the agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you're reaching the 5 minutes. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The agent or the applicant will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to the proposal at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if it is substantially revised to ensure that the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to the notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then individuals either in support or in opposition to the application will be invited to speak. Please ensure that you confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. You may wish to select a spokesperson if there's a larger group. You should not repeat your comments. If a comment has been made previously, repeating those comments again will not advance your cause. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or the agent has the opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. That will mark the end of the discussion, and the application will then be taken into committee for a decision. I would like to confirm again that this is the afternoon session, which has started at 1:30 p.m., and we will deal with items 19 to 36 in this session. For this session, are there any declarations of interest of panel or staff for items in this time slot? I see none. Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer, are there any requests for deferrals on any of the items listed in this time slot?
Through the chair, there are two requests for deferral. One is item 28, 743 Warden Avenue, Block 20. It needs to be deferred due to insufficient public notice under the Planning Act.
Are the agent or the owner in attendance today? Are you aware? I don't see it on the speakers list.
I'm not aware if they are or not.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they are or not.
Okay.
That they are aware that it does need to be deferred. Staff did advise them.
Okay, so let's deal with this item first. And I've just noticed that member Macaulay is not online.
Through the chair, you do have quorum if you wish.
Okay. All right, so members of the committee, we have for item 28, 743 Warden Avenue, Block 20. The application has been requested to be deferred due to insufficient notice. Are there any concerns with the request for deferral? I see none. All right, in that case, may I have a motion, please? Member Taylor, please go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'll move for deferral to enable sufficient public notice.
All right, Member M?
I'll second that motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried, and the application for 743 Warden Avenue has been deferred sine die.
Through the chair, the second deferral request is item 32, 94 August Avenue. The deferral request is from the owner due to a personal matter, a family emergency.
Are you aware if the agent or the owner will be attending?
They will not. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, through the chair, Riza is in here right now.
Okay. All right. If I can have Riza online, please.
I'm here.
All right. So Reza, we have a request for deferral on this application. Could you advise us of the reason?
Yeah, actually, I had the COVID, and then I physical and family issue.
Okay.
I need to defer.
All right. Okay. So members of the committee, we have Reza, who is, I believe, the owner or the agent, and he is requesting a deferral for this application. He has to attend to a family issue, and for reason for which he would like to defer the application. So is there a concern with this request for deferral? I see none. All right. So may I have a motion, please? Member M, please go ahead.
Through you, Madam Chair, I put forth a motion of deferral of item number 32, 94 August Avenue, sine die.
Right. May I have a seconder, please? Member Said?
I second the motion, Madam Chair.
Okay, all in favor of this motion? And the motion is carried. Application for 94 August Avenue has been deferred sine die. Thank you very much. Any further requests for deferral?
So may I know what I have to do now?
So Reza, your application has been deferred, which means that whenever you are ready, you can approach the staff, either Secretary Treasurer, to assist you with the next steps. There will be another hearing hearing that would be scheduled for your item, and then staff can guide you in terms of what next steps would be.
Well, thanks a lot.
Okay? All right, thank you.
Through the chair, there are no further deferral requests.
Okay, thank you, Colin. There are no further requests for deferral, which brings me to the vetting of the agenda. And I will start with the first item in this time slot. It is 34 Springbank Road. This is item 19, and I note that there are several speakers on this, so we will hold down this item and come back to it in the main body of the meeting. Next item, 142 Harewood Avenue. Again, there are two speakers listed, and we will hold down this item and come back. So this is item 20, 142 Harewood Avenue is being held. The next one on the list, 140 Adenac Drive. Do we have Rob with us?
Yes, I am here,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Good afternoon, Rob. So we're dealing with your application that is before us. And there are two conditions. There's one condition of from urban forestry. Are you aware of that condition?
Yes.
And do you have any concern with that
We have-
condition?
No, not at all.
Okay.
We anticipate having to do a tree application to destroy or injure and have an arborist report for the permit.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Members of the committee, any questions for Rob? Member M, please go ahead.
No, Madam Chair, no questions.
Okay,
I was prepared to do a motion.
all right. So if there are no questions, please go ahead with the motion. Member M.
So I move a motion of approval for item number 21, subject to the urban forestry condition number 2. I feel this is an appropriate variance as it allows flexibility and accessibility to allow to age in place. And I support this variance and I feel it meets the 4 tests. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member Said, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I second the motion for approval of item number 21, subject to the urban forestry condition.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried. Application for 140 Adenac Drive has been approved, subject to condition of urban forestry. Thank you. The next one, it is item 22, and it is 77 Randstone Gardens. And do we have Clinton with us?
Yes, I'm here, Chair.
Hello, Clinton, are you aware that we have a memo from Urban Forestry recommending refusal?
I was not aware of that.
Okay, all right. So let's deal with this item in the main body. So we will hold this matter down and come back to you to further discuss this. So we have received a memo from Urban Forestry recommending that the application be denied. So just stay back and we'll get back to you.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Okay, so 77 Randstone Gardens is being held for further discussion with the applicant regarding the refusal memo from Urban Forestry. So Colin, 77 Randstone held. Item 23 is 1650 Military Trail. And do we have Jordan with us?
Here. Hi there, I'm here.
Hi, Jordan. Okay, so we have your application before us. Committee members, any questions for Jordan at this time? I see none. Are there any conditions there? I see none. Okay. All right. So members of the committee, if you have no further comments or questions, can I please have a motion on this? Item 23, 1650 Military Trail. Member M, please go ahead.
Through you, Madam Chair, I propose approval of item 23 to permit a 3-year temporary sales center on the property with a minimum setback of 0 meters and the use to be permitted. I don't believe there's any conditions. Thank you.
I just want to double check. Colin, can you just double check if there was a condition from someone?
It's not in our summary.
It's not in summary? Okay.
Through the chair, there are no conditions.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. It's just something just was coming to me. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve the application. There are no conditions. May I have a seconder, please? Member Taylor, please go ahead.
I'll second the motion, Madam Chair.
Okay, all in favor of this motion? The motion is carried. Application for 1650 Military Trail has been approved. Thank you. The next one is item 24. Item 24 is 18 Cameral Crescent. And I believe there are no speakers other than the architects on the project. Can we have Ravi, please? Okay, hi Ravi.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi Ravi. So is it going to be
Hi.
is it going to be you or Asta who would be speaking?
Yeah, I will be the one speaking as the main architect for the project. Asta is the project architect on this project.
Okay, perfect. All right. So
I'm speaking. Ravi will speak.
okay, fine. Thank you, Ravi. We got you. So members of the committee, any questions for Ravi at this time? It's 18 Cameral Crescent, and I don't believe there are any conditions. Any questions? I see none. If there are no questions, please may I have a motion. Member Said, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the motion for approval of item number 24, and there are no conditions attached to this approval.
Okay, may I have a seconder, please? Member Taylor, please go ahead.
Second, Madam Chair.
Member Taylor seconds the motion. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried. Application for 18 Cameral Crescent has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 25 is 171 Midland Avenue, and I have on my list a few speakers, so we will hold down this item and come back to it. So 171 Midland is being held. Item 26, Lena Rodriguez. It is for 15 Westbourne Avenue. Are you with us, Lena?
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Chair.
Good afternoon,
Good
Lena.
afternoon, Madam Chair.
Okay, all right. We have your application before us for 15 Westbourne Avenue, and there's a condition from Urban Forestry. Are you aware of the condition, and do you have any concern?
No concern. Yes, we are aware.
Okay, perfect. Members of the committee, any questions for Lena? I see none. All right. May I have a motion, please? Member Said, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Lena, for understanding of the urban forestry conditions. So, Madam Chair, I move the motion for approval of this application, subject to the urban forestry conditions.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member M? Please go ahead.
Second that motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All in favor of this motion? Motion is carried, so application for 15 Westbourne Avenue has been approved, subject to condition of urban forestry. And I see that we have Member
Thank you very
Macaulay.
much.
Thank you. I see we have Member Macaulay back. Briefly.
So for the record, so for items 19, so in terms, Ann Macaulay just returned. So for any items beyond, after items 27, just in terms of the decisions, she should not be recorded. She did not vote for the previous
Oh, I see.
items. Okay.
But for the items that have been held, she can participate.
Of course, yes, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so Member
For
Macaulay,
items 19 to 26. Go ahead.
26 has been dealt with. A decision has been made.
Okay. Have you finished setting the
We can't hear you.
the
Yeah.
whole thing,
Member Macaulay, we can't hear you.
the afternoon meeting?
It's, we could not hear you. You're getting cut off. No, can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear?
We can hear you, but it's very, very choppy.
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
I think the world is very. Try again. Can you just bring me up
No, I can't hear you.
to date
Member
Can't
Macaulay,
understand anything
to
you're saying.
where you are?
Member Macaulay, we cannot
You still can't
understand
hear
you.
me?
We cannot understand you. We can hear you, but it's very choppy. You're getting cut out.
Can you try a different room in your house? shall we proceed?
Member Macaulay, you need to make sure your connection is working. We have to proceed with the agenda. No, can't hear you, sorry.
No, she's frozen.
Can you say something, Member Macaulay? No, can't hear you. Sorry, can't not hear you. Okay, so moving along.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just gonna say it. I'm not sure if you're gonna hear it or not. So we have dealt with item 19 to item 26. Some items were held, some items, the decisions were made. So item 19 was held, item 20 was held, 21 was dealt with, 22 is held, 23 was dealt with, 24 was dealt with, and we're now, 25 was held, and 26 has been dealt with. We're now on item 27. Okay, so item 27, 150 Warden Avenue. There are several speakers on this item, so this item is being held for further discussion. Item 28 was deferred. Item 29, we have for 5 Wood Garden Crescent. We have the owner and the applicant and the agent rep. Do we have Peter with us? All right, Peter, you're with us?
Yes, I am here.
All right, thank you. So
Yes,
Peter,
I'm here.
all right, thank you. Peter, we have your application before us. Have you had a chance to review the community planning staff report, which is recommending a condition to tie, should the committee approve it, that it be tied to a site plan?
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay, and you have no concerns with that condition?
No concerns.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter, for confirming that. Members of the committee, any questions or comments for Peter at this time? Member M.
I just have two quick questions. I note in the survey, there's an existing shed. And on the new site plan, it doesn't appear that the shed will remain, but it doesn't say anywhere in your application that it will be removed. And I just note that that could affect coverage. So I just wanted to ensure that there's clarity on whether that shed is to remain or be removed.
Okay, Peter, would you like to respond to this, please?
Yes, that shed will be removed. It's a fairly larger, older shed. It will be removed and replaced with a much smaller one.
Okay, understood. And the easement for the utility, a piece that runs through the rear yard, the new addition does not encroach on that easement?
As far as I know, it does not.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? I see none. All right. At this time, I would request for a motion, please. Member Said, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The variants before the committee, they are minor and they meet the 4 test. There is a condition of community planning staff report to tie to the site plan. That with that condition, I move the motion for approval of item number 29.
Okay, may I have a seconder, please? Member Taylor, please go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'll second the motion.
Right, all in favor of this motion? The motion is carried. Item 29 for 5 Wood Garden Crescent has been approved subject to condition of community planning staff report. Thank you very much. Okay, moving to item 30. So item 30 is 43 McIntosh Street, and there are a couple of speakers who have been listed. So we will hold it down and come back to it. So item 30 is being held. Moving to item 31, 170 Courcelette Road. Do we have Jeffrey Moot with us? Jeffrey.
I am here. Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon, Jeffrey. So we're dealing with your item. Members of the committee, any questions for Jeffrey at this time? Okay. I see none. All right. If there are no comments or questions, can I please have a motion? Member M, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I propose approval of item number 31. I see no conditions tied to that.
Okay, thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member Taylor, please go ahead.
I'll second, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried. Item 31 has been approved. All right. Item 32 was deferred. We now go to item 33. Item 33 is 86 Glen Watford Drive, 86 Glen Watford Drive. And we have Nicole as the agent.
Hi.
Hi,
Good afternoon, Madam Chair.
Good afternoon, Nicole. So we're looking at your application, item 33, and there are no conditions. Members of the committee, any questions for Nicole for her application? I see none. Okay. If there are no questions, can I please have a motion? Member Said, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the motion for approval of item number 33, and there are no conditions to this approval.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member Macaulay.
I second that motion. I'm hoping that you can hear me.
I can hear you very well. Thank you, Member Macaulay. So
Thank
Member
you.
Macaulay seconds the motion. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried. Application for 86 Glenford Drive has been approved and there are no conditions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Item number 34, 423 Guildwood Parkway. And we have listed with us David Eagleman. David, are you with us?
I am. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members.
Good afternoon. So we have a staff report from Community Planning, and they are recommending that this report be deferred. Have you read the report? David?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, I have read the report.
And you have concerns with the recommended condition?
Through you, Madam Chair, I do. I do not think this application should be deferred today. As I said, I have reviewed the city planning staff report, which is dated August 24th, which was yesterday. We have had no correspondence, and I was not reached out to by city planning staff prior to receiving that report, which was issued yesterday. I have reviewed the report and note that the concerns expressed by city planning staff are related to drainage as well as hard and soft landscaping. And it is my understanding that there are no variances pertaining to hard and soft landscaping being proposed, and any issues related to drainage will be addressed through the appropriate permitting process. So
Okay.
Through you, Madam Chair, I would like to proceed with the application as is.
Okay, members of the committee, you heard David speak to the recommended condition. Would you like to hold down this item for further discussion or make a decision on this application right now?
I'm fine to proceed, Madam Chair. I don't know about my fellow chair members.
Okay, I'm in your hands right now. Member Taylor?
I'm prepared to proceed, Madam Chair.
Okay, Member Macaulay?
I would like to ask staff if the community planning request could be addressed through the building permit stage. Or do we
Okay,
need to defer this item?
So that tells me that you would probably like a little bit more understanding or discussion on this. So remember, we're in the vetting of the agenda. So either we make a decision or we hold down the item for further discussion. And that's my question to you.
Okay, let's hold it down. I thought staff could answer me very quickly, but if not, let's hold it down.
Okay, so just to kind of assess it comprehensively, and what about you, Member Said?
Madam Chair, I agree to proceed with the application.
Okay, so the majority wants the application to be proceeded with. Maybe we can ask that question and see if we can resolve it. I don't want to unnecessarily hold on people if it's not necessary. So ask your question, Member Macaulay.
Okay, I'll ask the question again. The community staff are asking for a deferral to review the application further, as I understand it. And my question is, would that not take place in any case when they get to the building permit stage and we don't need to defer this application for their further review?
Staff, can I have your opinion on this?
Through the chair, this is through the community planning does want to confirm with Toronto Buildings whether grading, like whether drainage will be assessed through the building permit application. Well, that's one of the reasons why they've recommended this, the deferral, is because they need to review internally with their divisional partners. They want to talk to Toronto Building. They also want to talk to urban forestry ravines as well. So that's why they are requesting that deferral. I cannot comment directly on the building permit process.
Okay, fair enough. So what we heard from staff is that they want further discussion and hence the request for deferral. Okay. Now, I'm in your hands. Do you want
Thank you, staff. I'm prepared to recommend their deferral. I know this area and it's backing onto the bluffs and there have been problems. So safety, I think, is a concern in this particular location. I recommend deferral.
But didn't the applicant, Madam Chair, request to proceed? So I don't think that's on the table.
Well, he
Is it?
Well, he suggested that he wants a decision. The decision is in our hands to approve, to deny, or defer.
Through the chair, you may wish to hold it to allow the applicant to speak.
I was coming to that. If the recommendation on the floor is to defer, and the applicant has already expressed that he's not willing to defer, then we should probably hold down this item and then come back to it. So I tried, but I guess
However, I'm willing to put forward a motion, Madam Chair. If that motion failed, do I not have an opportunity to put a second motion? Or do we hold it?
We just hold it down for transparency. Let's hold it down. Okay. So sorry, David, we will hold down the item and come back to it. Okay. So item 34 being held.
Through the chair, we've just been advised that for item 27, the applicant is requesting deferral of the deferral sine die of the application to allow to have some discussions with the neighbors.
Okay, so that
following their letters of concern. So this is item 27. Yep.
Okay, so let's get through the rest of the agenda for this time slot, and then we'll come back to it.
Okay.
I just don't want to break the... Okay, so item 34 for 423 Guildwood Parkway is being held for further discussion. Item 35 is 188 Phyllis Avenue, and there is a couple of registered speakers in opposition, so we are holding down this item. 188 Phyllis Avenue is being held. Item 36, 33 Hearth Place, Lot 5. We have Dan Barry with us.
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm in attendance.
All right, thank you, Dan. Members of the committee, any questions or before I proceed? I don't think there's any condition. Members of the committee, any questions for Dan? You do, members? Okay, no. If there are no questions, then can I please have a motion on the application? Member M, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I recommend approval of item number 36 I see this as a technicality with the site-specific zoning that was put into place a few years ago. And I do believe that the variances being requested are minor in nature and meet the 4 tests. And let me just see conditions. I see none.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a seconder? Member Macaulay, please go ahead.
Madam Chair, I will second that motion.
All in favor of the motion? The motion is carried. Application for 33 Hearth Place, lot number 5 has been approved, and there are no conditions.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, thank you for your time.
You're welcome. So that brings us to, no, before I do, staff, you have received a request for deferral.
Yes, we received it this afternoon from the agent. You may want to put if this is for item 27, you may want to put the agent on.
Yeah. Yeah. So
if
we have
he's
the
available,
agent. Yeah.
but we have something in writing from him as well.
Okay, so Peter Jerusik.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you, Peter?
Good.
Good.
Not too bad. Yes, I put in a request. I put a request in yesterday with with the committee staff on this, and they told me to speak with you guys today regarding this. In regards to the neighbors' opposition, we have reached out to them since their letters of opposition and had some discussions with them yesterday. So we're moving forward to redesign a bit of the house to appease some of the requests that the neighbors have. So we're deferring it to work with the neighbors.
Okay, thank you very much. Members of the committee, you heard Peter is requesting a deferral for for 150 Warden Avenue to do some revisions based on the concerns that he has heard from the residents. Any concerns with the request for deferral? I see none. If there are no questions or comments, can I please have a motion? Member Taylor, please go ahead.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'll move for deferral to enable further discussions with the neighbors.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member M, please go ahead.
That motion, Madam Chair.
All in favor of this motion? And the motion is carried. The application has been deferred sine die. Okay, so now this brings us to the end of our items on the agenda for the 1:30 p.m. time slot. I will just recap the items that have been held. Item 19, item 20, item 22, item 25, item 30, item 34, and item 35. Perfect. Thank you. All right, so let's go with the first item that has been held, and this is item 19. Item 19 is 34 Spring Bank Road, and we have Christian Chan as the agent. Christian, you're with us?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members.
Okay, thank you. And we also have Dr. Kim Chi Tran and Ryan Edwards as the owners. Is Dr. Kim Chi Chan there? Tran.
Yes. Both here on the same computer. Yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect. So Dr. Kim Chi Tran and Ryan Edwards are on the same computer. And I won't do a roll call, but just let you know, I have Marianne, Tom Garrels, and Linnell Forscott listed as registered speakers. So I will call out your names and get you online when it's your turn to speak. So both speakers, please stay tuned. So now starting with Christian Chan. Christian, we have your application before us for 34 Springbank Road. Would you like to make a presentation at this time or get into the questions?
I think, Madam Chair, getting into a little bit of a presentation to explain the alterations to the proposal pursuant to the previous Committee of Adjustment hearing on March 31st would be useful to the committee and to the public. So yes, please.
Okay, all right. So you have 5 minutes and your time starts now. Please go ahead.
Great. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I did make a submission for the revised August 2021 proposal. This is pursuant to comments of the committee members from the previous meeting, as well as redesign from the concerns that were raised at the previous committee meeting. So in fact, there was a public notice that was issued recently that subsequently we revised to eliminate even more variances from the application. So with respect, going into those details, on page 8 of my submission before you, I have the revised public notice and the requested variances, so I'll quickly go through those. So variance number 2 is deleted. Variance number 6 with regards to height and stories is deleted. The height, variance number 7, the height of the main pedestrian entrance is deleted. And variance number 10, the platforms is deleted. And the variance number 11, the platform area has been amended. So since we are deleting and amending and lowering the numerical variances, no new recirculation is required for a public notice if we are to be removing and amending variances to a lower value than they are. So these plans that are in Schedule 3 to my letter, they're provided by KH Design. This is a different designer from ATG Designs, the original designer. So all the design that's been before you in Schedule 3 of my submission works within the framework of these variances. So no new variances are triggered. We did a review, and here's a comparison chart of the different plans that have been before you, which the staff have on the screen before you. So essentially what the alterations are to the original proposal before you March 31st is compliance with the maximum FSI, number of stories, platform and stair enclosure, and the access to the rooftop platform that was a large concern from the previous application is no longer proposed. Addressing overlook concerns raised by the abutting neighbor to the east and to satisfy the committee's concerns of what was raised as a potential future unlawful expansion of the rooftop platform that was previously proposed. So the flat roof has been eliminated altogether. That was a previous variance, and the roof profiles of a peaked roof. So this does result in a new variance for overall peak roof height to the tune of 64 centimeters over the 9-meter standard, and a variance for the front and rear main wall heights arising out of the dormers that are proposed, and not for the actual main walls themselves. So one upper story platform is proposed on the front main wall on the second floor, and it's compliant with the number of platforms permitted in the RD zone. The previous proposal that was resubmitted in June had 2 upper story front platforms, and an upper story platform is eliminated from the east side main wall that had potential overlook to the neighbor to the east. So also, although not a variance, the originally proposed side door has been eliminated to the east, as well as the repositioning of the east facing windows in order to improve any perceived privacy issues. There's also compliance with the front main entrance height. So we have re-engaged city planning staff on the revised proposal, TRC and urban forestry, and they have noted no objections to the revised proposal. And they did provide a condition that was a condition for approval on the original application, that being the urban forestry condition, and also the planning condition for the condition to secure to plans. However, I'd just like to note to the committee, should they decide to approve this application before you today, that the condition should read as the owner shall substantially, in accordance with the plans and drawings prepared by Catherine Harrison, Architecture and Design, dated August 13th, 2021, instead of what the planning staff had originally proposed in their report in March 2021. So TRCA has also been recirculated in the revised proposal and have no objections. If you'd like me to go into the details of the specific variances that are now before you, I can do that, but I don't believe I have that much time to explain everything. With respect to public consultation, that was another reason for the deferral that was granted by the committee, is to do consultation with the neighbors. So the plans had been recirculated to the neighbors in the immediate context. I note that they have received a further 14 letters of support from the proposal before you now at the committee. I do know that there's still a number of letter of objections, namely one from a neighbor on Birchmount Road for height, and also continued objections from number 36, Mr. Garrels. In my opinion, the revised application is substantially reduced from what was before you earlier, and meets the 4 tests pursuant to Section 45(1) of the Planning Act. If you'd like for me to go into further detail through questions on the specific variances, I can definitely explain that. But I believe, Madam Chair, if I have not much time, please let me know.
Yeah.
But those are my submissions. So, and also just to reiterate too,
so your time's up.
owners have
Sorry, just wanted to let you know, Christian, another 30 seconds. Just please wrap up.
Okay, great. I'd just like to also know that, the committee know that the owners, Kim Chi and Ryan, have submitted a statement of facts outlining a history of their consultation with their nearby neighbors as well, in order to address the committee's concerns for public consultation, as well as the reduction of the variances from what was before you on March 31st.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Yes, I think going through in detail for each of the variances may not be prudent at this time unless someone asks a question. So I just want to recap that you've eliminated variances 2, 6, 7, 10, and a reduction has been made to variance 11. Are
Yes,
you
Madam Chair.
okay? And are you aware of conditions of urban forestry, and do you have any concerns with that?
We do not have any concerns with that, and we will lodge the permit to injure trees as required by urban forestry.
Okay, perfect. And I believe you did speak to the condition of community planning staff report. Okay. So at this time, I will turn over to our committee members. Committee members, any questions for Christian Chan at this time? Okay, I see none.
Just a statement saying that
Sure.
the cover letter was very helpful, so thank you.
Yes.
It was a lot of back and forth trying to process what had changed. So the table with the comparison, as well as the timeline submitted by the applicant was very appreciated, so thank you.
Yeah, I echo your comments as well, Member M. I think that was very helpful. Okay, so now going forward, let's see who we have in terms of the speakers from the neighbors. So we have Marianne, Tom Girels.
My wife actually would like to speak first, Linnell Forscott.
So that is Linnell Forscott. Okay. Okay, so Linnell, please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Linnell, and you have 5 minutes. Please let us know of your concerns.
I just want to start with, at one time many years ago, this home stood alone on the land occupied by 34 and 36 on a 100-foot lot. The original owners granted his son a small modest cottage set back over what is now 34 Springbank. After 34 was severed and the next owners extended the house forward, another owner added yet another story. By the time we bought 36 Springbank, my research concluded that 34 was at its maximum footprint, giving us a sense of peace knowing it couldn't get much larger. Now we are here at the Committee of Adjustments for the second time because the new owners are asking to go beyond what codes allow. Our home has not been moved, extended, or had any additions added since the beginning in 1912. However, it has been lovingly restored to its former glory. We ask the committee to help preserve and protect the original home and the neighborhood instead of setting new precedents. We want to continue to live in our heritage home, filled with natural light and privacy. We trust the committee to uphold these restrictions and guidelines set out by the city. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Linnell. I appreciate the time you've taken to come and speak with us. We certainly hear your comments, and we will get a response on these from Christian in a few minutes. Can we have Marianne Girels?
Tom Garrels here. Thank you for giving me time to respond to the proposed development for 34 Springbank. As a refresher, you've heard from my wife Linnell, and my daughter and I are the owners and occupants at 36 Springbank, the home immediately to the east of the proposed development. Under current proposals, our home will lose all of its sunlight in our living room and kitchen windows, a key factor that makes our home such a pleasure to live in. Likewise, our backyard deck will be in the shade of this new development. We are also very concerned about the invasion of privacy which comes with the new plans. Truth be told, I'm not quite sure which version of the proposal the committee is looking at, the one sent to us by the committee by mail around 15th of August, or the new plans emailed by the applicants and received by us on Tuesday, the day before our response was due at the committee that Wednesday. Then again, both proposals are equally problematic. In the last Committee of Adjustment meeting, the committee adopted a motion to address the height, the number of stories, the floor space index, remove the rooftop deck, and to have further discussions with your immediate neighbor at number 36 Springbank Avenue. Following this, the chair of the committee said, Christian, when you come back, you would have to revise your application and address, and I repeat that, address the specific concerns of your neighbors east or west. You may have read a letter from the applicants, the owner submission statement of facts, stating 7 dates on which they say to have emailed or communicated with us. We do not dispute the dates. The problem is that our concerns have not been addressed. Both in March, when we had a conversation with Mr. Edwards, and again in July, during a conversation between my wife and Mr. Edwards, we made our concerns known, and I note those dates are not on the statement of fact. Also, in April, by email to the applicants, we again made our specific concerns known. And these are A, a loss of sunlight in our living room and kitchen and on our deck. B, a complete loss of privacy. C, the proposed house being too high and too close to us. And D, the main but not the only cause of these concerns is the cantilevered addition in the proposal. I decided at the time not to give a ready-made solution as we imagined our neighbors would want to come up with their own. However, the next time we heard from the applicants was on June the 5th, when they sent us a new proposal accompanied by a note stating, and I quote, "This is 100% the submitted design to the committee. There are no alternative designs to the house." We felt that statement alone did not leave any room for discussion. Clearly, this was the final plan and it had already been submitted to the committee. When I opened the new plans, my jaw dropped. Rather than addressing our or the committee's concerns, the applicants had in fact largely ignored the motion adopted by this committee and amplified the issues that had been flagged. In place of a 7-meter high flat roof, which in previous plans covered 80% of the house, there was a more than 9.5-meter high-pitched roof covering the entire home. To make matters worse, the peak of said roof had been offset in the direction of our house. It's not in the middle, it's been offset in the direction of our house, allowing even less light to penetrate our windows. In addition, the cantilever had not been removed, but had also been increased in height from 7 meters to more than 9.5 meters. Finally, our privacy issues had not been addressed, but again had been amplified. Several new decks protruding from the second story of the home give even more direct sight into our bedrooms. Turning now to the latest proposals received by us on Tuesday with our objection due the next day, Wednesday, you will see the applicants have asked to have several of the variances removed. These changes are, however, cosmetic only. All changes are based on underpinning the basement, but the actual design and height of the home have not changed. When the application states the cantilever has been removed, it has actually been replaced with a much larger 2-story high addition coming up from ground level. And that reaches to 9.5 meters. In addition, an abundant number of new windows that weren't in the original proposal have amplified our privacy concerns. In closing, we ask respectfully for this application to be denied based on the fact that the applicants have not addressed all of the committee's concerns. Neither have they addressed our concerns as instructed by this committee, so that we might come to a mutually acceptable solution. Thank you.
Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us. Members of the committee, any questions for Marianne Gerels at this time? I see none. Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Gerels, and we will now move on to speak with Christian. Christian?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, so you heard the concerns from both Linnell and Marion, and could you please respond to the concerns that have been raised?
Yes, thank you. I took notes, and I thank Mr. Garrels and his wife for the comments. I can understand their frustration, so I'm just going to go into a little bit of rebuttal here. With regards to expansion of the footprint, there is no expansion of the proposed lot coverage or footprint, otherwise a lot coverage standard would apply. So we're not seeking a variance for expanding a footprint. In fact, the proposed addition is going on top of the existing foundations. So in terms of going beyond what the code allows, I understand that this is a unique lot configuration where we do have a parallelogram shaped lot with a ancillary, lawfully non-conforming ancillary structure in the front yard, which we're attempting to bring into compliance by connecting it to the main house, which is necessitating the building length and depth variances. I can appreciate number 36's desire to maintain their house in the existing state, but I do like to bring the committee's attention to the official plan policies that's contained in the Healthy Neighborhoods policies that specifically state that neighborhoods are stable, but they are not static. There is expected degree of change and improvements and expansion that are to occur in existing stable neighborhoods. With regards to any precedents in the previous application before the committee, we did submit a chart of COA decisions in the geographic neighborhood, which shows that the proposal does not set any new precedents, and this continues to be the fact for this resubmission. I can also appreciate the fact that cottages may have been built previously on this particular stretch of Springbank, but as we know and have, there is no identification of a heritage area or heritage homes in this area. With regards to the loss of light and backyard decks and privacy, I do like to highlight to the committee that we are in compliance with all side yard setbacks to the east that would otherwise give rise to concern should we seek those variances for impacts upon privacy, light, and overlook. I can't speak too much between the interactions between the two parties. I don't want to get into that. Instead of speak to the planning merits of the application. With regards to the height in the roof deck has been removed. I know that was a big concern of both the committee and the neighbor. We're seeking a height that is about 2 feet than what is permitted by the bylaw, and it's within the Committee of Adjustment decisions in the geographic neighborhood. The cantilever has been removed. There is no more overlook from the cantilever portion of the building, and it does also comply with both the FSI and the side yard setbacks, which seek to control massing and building bulk. I do understand, though, as I've explained before in the previous committee meeting, that number 36 does infringe onto number 34's property by approximately 20 to 30 centimeters as seen on the survey. So while I can appreciate that we are not seeking side yard setback variances because we're achieving it, is that we have an existing condition whereby an adjoining neighboring house is already lawfully non-complying with the side yard setbacks for this particular zone. So there is an inherent privacy impact that's created on their lot to ours already. So any development that will be occurring on number 34 would produce this proximity relationship of which we are not seeking a minor variance for setback. With regards to windows and privacy, again, the setbacks are being adhered to. The OBC controls where windows go in a room and the requirement for them for egress and for light. So it's something that's out of the purview of the Committee of Adjustment that is required for other code requirements for construction. Regarding the underpinning, I can understand that did have the effect of removing variances, but that's something that lawfully can be done on this property in order to have the basement not being lawfully non-compliant with the definition of what a basement is in the bylaw, but actually becoming a true basement, as all the other basements would be on Springbank. So those are my submissions in response to the neighbor's comments.
Okay, thank you. Members of the committee, any comments at this time? Member M, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am sympathetic to the neighbors, as I know change can be very hard, and that, you know, Scarborough was once a very rural community, but over time, you know, especially with the amalgamation with the City of Toronto, things have evolved and intensified, and now we are an urban environment. And bylaws have been put into place to ensure certain standards are maintained, especially in relation to, setbacks. And I basically understand and going through all of the materials that were submitted and the presentations that were made, in my eyes, we're really only looking at a side yard setback on the west side that does not affect number 36. We're looking at a new roof variance that is actually lower than the previous variance because they've replaced it with a peaked roof, which is more in keeping with that heritage look as opposed to the flat roof, which is more modern. And the last few are with the building length, which brings it in line with 36 in their building length, in terms of not the length, but the rear setback of it's just aligned from the back. I understand that it's hard to have this change, but I'm not seeing anything here in these variances that are beyond what would be reasonable for me in terms of what is permitted already by the existing permissions within the bylaw. I do feel that they are marginal deviations from that bylaw that is clearly around and surrounding the existing community. I took a look at some of the aerials and did a lot of street view like photo analysis of some of the houses in the area, and I do feel that this build would be consistent with that, as well as the fact that it maintains most of the other standards, and they're just asking for relief. And it seems like a lot, but it is because there is a previous bylaw that was not redacted, the Birchcliff bylaw, and I know it's very hard for the neighbors, but I don't see this being a true impact in terms of a planning impact. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Member Amy. Any further comments? Questions for Member Said? Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to add on that. It's my understanding that the agent of the owner has tried their level best to accommodate the questions which were discussed during the last meeting when it was deferred, and they have tried to accommodate, especially when they have removed the variances 2, 6, 7, 10, and reduction in variance number 11. That's a good change. And I think under that circumstances, this development is quite appropriate, and I am willing to support that.
Okay, thank you. Any further comments? Okay, I see none. So we can take the matter into committee now. There are no further questions or comments at this time. Taking the matter into committee.
Madam Chair, may I just make one comment, please, just on the condition from planning? I just want to ensure that the plans, should the committee approve this application today, are for the plans by Catherine Harrison Architecture and Designing dated August 13th, 2021.
Okay.
Just to ensure that. Because I understand in this the submissions have many iterations of plans. I just don't want us to get caught up in something that isn't meant to be approved.
No, I totally understand that. Okay, so we have certainly made a note of that, and we will be mindful if we need to in the process of decision making. Okay, at this point, if there are no further questions or comments, can I please have a motion? Member M, please go ahead.
Through you, Madam Chair, I recommend approval of item number 19, subject to the urban forestry condition number 2, as well as the community planning condition to tie the development to the recent plans dated August 13th, 2021 by Catherine Harrison Architectures and Design, Inc.
Okay, all right, and
Conditions, can we add
conditions
the
of
as amended, like the variances which has been dropped?
Yes, as amended. Okay, so the application as amended, recommended for approval, subject to conditions of urban forestry and the latest condition from community planning staff report.
Through the chair, I would just delete the reference to community planning, because the plans they stand alone, right? It's not referenced in the community planning staff report. I would just, for clarity, just
I'll do it again. I'll do it again, Colin. Through you, Madam Chair, I recommend approval of item number 19 as amended, with a condition of urban forestry number 2, as well as a condition tying the approval to the most recent set of architectural drawings dated August 13th, 2021, by Catherine Harrison Architecture and Design Incorporated.
Thank you.
Okay, no, that's helpful. It's cleaner. Seconder, please. Mohammed, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I second the motion for approval.
All in favor of this motion? Oh, the motion is carried. The application has been approved. Thank you. Okay, the next item that was held is 142 Harewood Avenue, and we have Peter Jurusik with us. Peter?
Good afternoon, committee.
Good afternoon, Peter. So, again, would you like to make a presentation, or would you rather go into the question?
I'll do a short presentation.
Okay, all right. Go ahead. You have 5 minutes.
This application was before the committee back in February with some opposition from neighbors regarding the size of the houses. We went through a process to eliminate the majority of variances except for one, which is the floor space index. The variance requested where permitted floor area is 279, but the proposed is 249.4. That clause in the bylaw states that it's exception RD 1462 says that the floor space index will be the lesser of 0.5 times lot area or 279. So that number that we're looking at, 349.4, is 0.5. So we reduced the house from about 50 square meters from 379 from the original one. And we had height variances and other issues that we've totally eliminated and reduced the house to comply with that higher number in that exception, which is the 0.5. But the issue is, of course, because it's the lesser of 279 meters, we request this variance. I'd also like to cite, this is 142, 152 Harewood, which worked out in the past, was also granted 0.5, and 36 Alistair, which is the same zone the next street over, was granted 0.56. These are all recent builds. When you look at the community, it isn't a community that's dynamic and in transition where people are purchasing properties and building new houses. So I believe that this meets the 4 tests, as the exception does view this lot area as being 0.5 or 279 square meters. So yes, we do require a variance, but we did try to maintain that 0.5 floor space index of the lot. And that is the only variance we now require. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. How wide is the lot? Just out of curiosity, Peter?
The width of the lot, I believe, is a 50-foot lot, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, I just shut the drawing by
Okay,
accident here.
sorry. No, I just wanted to look at the scale and the massing on it. It's 16.26.
We have 1.5 meter setbacks for the majority of the property.
Okay.
So we don't require any variances for side yard setbacks, depth.
Correct.
We're at 16.5. Even our coverage is at 23%, where 33% is permitted. We're only at about 23.5% coverage.
Okay, all right. No, that's helpful. Thank you very much.
Sorry, 29.3. My apologies. 29.3 coverage.
Whereas 33 is permitted, right?
Where 33 is permitted, yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. That just helps me. All right, thank you. Members of the committee, any questions for Peter? Member M, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have a question. Brian, if you could bring back the plans up. I had noticed, at least in my package, that the elevation drawings were still showing the balcony that I thought we saw it was supposed to be removed. Yes, the 2nd-story balcony. So I'm just trying to understand, Peter, if you could provide some clarity, because I think that would have required a variance, correct?
Correct. Sorry, we forgot to remove the railing. It's a flat roof. We're creating a covered loggia underneath. And my apologies, we forgot to remove the railing from the side and rear elevations, but we are not seeking a balcony variance there. So regardless, when this goes to, for zoning notice, zoning certificate at the end, we would not have been permitted it. So we did label it as flat roof. My apologies, we didn't correct the rear elevations to remove the railing.
So then that door is replaced with this window. This is now.
It's just a window, correct. It's a flat roof with a window, but the client does want to have a sheltered covered loggia underneath, a covered patio underneath. So we still would like to have that covered, so we still have that roof.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. That's all of my questions.
You're welcome.
And okay, and this would be the front of the building, right? No, the back. The back.
That's the rear.
Okay, perfect. All right, any further question?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, all right. Now we should move ahead and speak with the neighbors who have registered to speak with us. So first on the list is John Mcmulken. And I also have Janet May from the same address. Is John online?
Yeah, through the chair, John has not signed in with us.
Okay. Can you check for Janet May? Okay, Janet?
Hello. Yes, we're sharing a computer, so he is here.
Okay, all right. So we have both John and Janet.
John
sharing-
is here.
Okay, so John and Janet are here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It sounds a little choppy, but let's get going. So you have 5 minutes, Janet. Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
You have 5 minutes. Please go ahead.
Sorry,
Oh, we can't hear you very well.
okay. You can hear my dog bark as well, I suppose. Okay, my name is John Mcmulken, and I live at 147 Harewood Avenue, across the street from the proposed development at 142 Harewood Avenue. I'm speaking. Hang on, Janet's coming to help me out here. They can't hear me, Janet. They can't hear me.
It was fine. It was fine.
No. How come? I don't know. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Carry on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Janet, and I could also hear John. Please carry on.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Hello?
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 Yes,
We can't hear you.
I can hear you very well. Is your speaker on?
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Can you
sir.
hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Remember, Said?
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So I am speaking on behalf of 49 residents who have signed a petition asking the members. Okay. Do you want me to start again? Because this is not working out.
Yeah,
too well.
you seem to.
My name is John Mcmulken, and I live at 147 Harewood. Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
You keep cutting out. You keep cutting out. So let's do this. You can start now. You can start now so that there's no interruption.
Yes, what?
Start what? Start your presentation, sir.
Okay, so I'll start again. My name is John McMulken. I live at 147 Harewood Avenue.
Yes.
Yes.
Now I know.
I don't know what to do now.
So how about this? Why don't you continue speaking? Because when you stop,
Should we phone in?
can you
We
phone
need
in?
some help from you. We have our concerns.
I hear you. Just bear
Hello?
with me. Just bear with me. What other options do they have? They can call in. You can phone in.
It's not working obviously. Hello?
Can you let them know, Ali, somehow?
Can we phone you in?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
See, it's all circling. Something's working. Hello?
Can you call in? Phone in, please. Phone in.
Well, how's... Okay. My name is John Mcmulken. My name is John Mcmulken, and I live at 147 Harewood Avenue, across the street from the proposed members of the Committee of Adjustment to refer the application to a larger house. People who live in our neighborhood
Through the chair, if you're listening to us right now, take a look on the screen. Please phone the number that's on the screen, because we're not able to hear you when you're logged into your computer. Please phone in. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, I phoned in.
Yes, we can hear you now. I think the phone in is better.
Okay, I'll put this through to my husband and we'll turn off the audio on our device. Hello.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay.
Please turn off your other devices, please, because there's an echo.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you turn it right off? Take it out of the room then. Can you hear me now? Is
Yes,
that better?
we can hear you very well. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. My name is John Mcmulken, and I live at 147 Harewood Avenue, across the street from the proposed development at 142 Harewood Avenue. I'm speaking on behalf of 49 residents who have signed a petition asking the members of the Committee of Adjustment to refuse this application to demolish 142 Harewood and replace it with a significantly larger house. The people who live in our neighborhood do not think this proposal is desirable for the appropriate development of the land, as evidenced by the signatures on the letter to the Committee of Adjustment. The opinions of our neighbors need to be valued and taken into account by the members of the Committee of Adjustment. The proposed development does not maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan, which expects that new developments respect the existing physical character of a neighborhood. Brian, can you put up page 3 of the Community Association presentation, please? This is a rendering of the proposed infill at 142 Harewood.
No, not up.
Brian?
Yes.
We can see it. It's up.
It's up.
Oh,
It's
you
up
can
on the
see it?
screen. Yes, it's up on the screen.
Okay. Okay, so you can see that the difference between the old house and the proposed mega mansion. Brian, can you please scroll to page 4? Actually, that is the photo that shows the existing home and the proposed new build in comparison. So that's photo number 1. And if we scroll down to page 4.
Yes, we are on page 4.
Okay. Brian, can you now put up attachment 2 of the Community Association letter of objection dated August the 18th?
Sir, we have all this in our package and committee members have reviewed it. So you can continue with
this
your...
is the way the street looked earlier this year and still looks today without the snow. The first 2 photos are existing bungalows across the street from 142 Harewood. The next 2 houses are former bungalows with an added second story without any increase in the original footprint. These renovations maintain the neighborhood physical characteristic of generous front, back, and side yards. The next photos show the remaining houses on the east side of the block, all of which are bungalows. To sum up, there are 12 homes on the east side of Harewood Avenue between Randall and Anson. 10 of these houses are bungalows, and 2 are 2-story houses. On the west side of the block, the main housing type is known as Victory Homes, or 1.5 stories. One home has been converted to a full 2-story, and some homes have an addition in the backyard. These are renovations which fit in with the existing physical character of the block. On the west side of Harewood, between Anson and Randall, there are 9 houses. Of these, 2 are bungalows, 6 are 1.5 story, and 1 is a 2-story. On our block, there are a total of 21 houses. 57% are bungalows, 29% are 1.5 story, 14% are 2-story. The prevailing physical characteristic of this block is bungalow and victory houses. All of these houses have generous front, back, and side yards. Finally, at the first meeting in March 2021, when the committee first considered the application, one of the committee members suggested that the applicant reach out to the neighbors who live close by. No attempt has been made by the applicant to date to discuss the application with any of the neighbors who will be most impacted by this egregious new build. Because the application fails tests 2 and 4, as listed on the public hearing notice, we ask that the committee refuse this application. Thank you.
Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us. Sorry for the confusion and the technical glitch.
Okay, well, at least we got there.
Yeah, we got there, and I think the phone really worked. Old school works.
Okay.
So now I'm
Yeah.
going to turn over to the committee members and see if they have any questions for you. Oh,
Okay.
is Janet also going to be speaking?
Yes, she is.
Oh,
Would you like
okay.
her to speak now?
Yes, please, if you don't mind. Thank you, staff.
Okay, hang on.
Hello.
Hi, Janet.
Hi, I'm here.
Okay, please go ahead, and you have 5 minutes to speak.
Okay, thank you. I live at 147 Harewood, which is across the street from 142 Harewood, and I'm also speaking on behalf of the Cliffcrest Scarborough Village Southwest Residents Association, which is an incorporated nonprofit, and we are opposed to the minor variance application because the 4 tests as set out in Section 45.1 of the Planning Act are not satisfied. Is the variance minor? So, Brian, could you scroll back to page 2 of the Community Association presentation, and page 3 and page 4. These are renderings of what we believe the new house will look like in the context neighborhood. The dwelling will be 25.23% larger than that permitted by the zoning bylaw. This is materially larger than all of the houses in this block of Harewood Avenue. We believe that this is a significant, not a minor variance. Does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? We have some charts that are on page 6 of the Community Association presentation. Page 6, please. That's 3, yeah.
Yeah, we're on page 6.
Okay, I guess the TV is a bit slower. Okay, so the block, including 142 Harewood, consists of 21 homes. The gross floor area for this block ranges from 83.98 square meters to 173 square meters. The average is 114.87 square meters. The 349.4 meters squared proposed is too large and well out of range of these, and is not in keeping with the prevailing character of our neighborhood. Then on page 7, we have the FSIs. So the associated FSI range from 0.16 to 0.37 with an average of 0.21 FSI. The proposed FSI of 0.504 is well outside the current range, and this includes recently newly built dwellings. 127 Harewood, which is south of the block examined, has an FSI of over 0.66, but this is an outlier on the street. This occurred because of a consent approval which resulted in an overbuilt dwelling on a lot that is 49 feet shorter than the other lots on Harewood Avenue. This dwelling is absolutely not in keeping with the physical character of the neighborhood. Does the requested variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? The official plan is meant to ensure that new development respects the existing physical character of that neighborhood, including, in particular, prevailing density. Prevailing density is determined as the most frequently occurring, and this includes older properties, not just new overbuilt houses. The intent and purpose of the policies of the official plan are to ensure that new development in a neighborhood respects the existing physical character of that neighborhood. The proposed massing of 142 Harewood fails to meet the intent and purpose of the official plan. Not only is the building too large, it also has architectural features not found anywhere else in this block. None of the houses have turrets, double integral garages, double driveways, or two-story entryways with two-story columns. The official plan states no changes shall be made through rezoning, minor variance, consent, or other public action that are out of keeping with the physical character of the neighborhood. Harewood Avenue, north of Kingston to Horfield, consists of 62 houses. Of these, 47 or 76% are bungalows. This is the existing physical character of the neighborhood. The variance does not satisfy any of the four tests, and the Residents Association urges the members of the committee to refuse the application. Thank you for your time, and I'm really sorry about the technical difficulties.
Oh, okay, thank you very much, no problem. All right, so members of the committee, Brian, can we have members back, please? Thank you very much. Members of the committee, you heard the comments. Any questions for either Janet or John at this time? I see none. Okay, all right, thank you very much. We now go back to Peter Jurusik. Peter?
Yes. So in response to the comments, if Brian can put back up their material that they presented, I'd like to point out a few items, especially the one where it has the old versus the new. I think that was page 4. Now, it's very easy to put a diagram like this, especially when it's misleading. When you look on the left-hand side of the 142 Harewood, the proposed to the neighbor's house, it looks very tight to that neighbor's house. Our allowed setback in this neighborhood is 0.9 under the zoning bylaw. We are maintaining 1.5 meters. So we are almost doubling the required setbacks. We can bring these houses up to 0.3 feet from the property line of 0.9, but our client chose to pull away from the neighboring houses. We are 1.5 meters side yards, except for that one turret at the front, but we still comply with zoning bylaws. So we've pulled the house away from the neighbors. I disagree with the comment that yes, looking at the older houses, it's understandable. This was an area with many bungalows, but all the new development, there's houses on 152 Harewood, 159 Harewood that were built in the last 3-4 years. They were all integral garage, two-story houses with bay windows, larger red roof, terracotta roofs, very similar. Yes, do they match up with the older houses? They don't. But any new construction moving forward, there are many similar types of architecture that meet up with this new design. Now, if you can move to the tables that are part of their presentation, I think it's page 6 and 7 of their presentation. I just want to point out that's the one that had that dog. Yes, that one there. So on this one here, they're showing that the proposed GFA is almost at 400. We've reduced that down to 340. So that's misleading there. We're at halfway between the 300 and 340. And page 7 itself, if you can move to page 7 of their presentation, they're showing that our FSI is almost at 0.6, where I've indicated at the beginning, the only variance here we're requesting is FSI, which is at 0.504. So that line is just touch above the 0.5 line there, which is in line. Now the allowed FSI, that orange line, shows that they're at 0.4, but the actual variance, the actual exception in the code, in the zoning bylaw, is 0.5 or 279 square meters, the lesser of. So I think these graphs are a little bit misleading in terms of that. And the massing as shown on that page 4 showed a very tight side yard to the neighbors. However, from the property line, our house starts 1.5 meters in on the garage side. So I think the scaling's off, which could be misleading when someone's not aware of it and looking at that graphic. So we've tried our best. I did speak with my clients. They did reach out to the neighbors, to the left side, to the right side. They even and then spoke with them. The one across the street, he's indicated that the door, they didn't answer the door when they approached them. But even in light of that, we removed all the height variances, all the other variances from our previous meeting, and reduced the house by 50 square meters, which for all you metric people out there, imperial people, that's 540 square feet. We reduced the house. So we hit that 0.5 FSI. I think that this meets all the tests of the building of the Planning Act. And we've tried our best to work with the neighbors and reduce the house to something that is much more adoptable, fits into the community. And when you look at the FSI, it is a number here that is in the zoning bylaw. However, when you look at the actual required zoning setbacks and coverage, we are well within that massing that we can fit that square footage in. So even if we were to reduce some square footage, we can reduce square footage by just creating an open to above family room, but the massing would not change. But we could, for that instance, but we're just being efficient with the massing that is allowed in the zoning bylaw to fit that square footage in it. And that's why we're requesting that variance, which is not out of line for other applications in this neighborhood that have been approved. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thanks, Peter. Brian, can we have the screen back, please? Members of the committee, any questions? Any comments? So this
Just for once we're in committee.
Okay. Member Macaulay, please go ahead.
Hey, I'm going to comment. I've driven up and down that area a couple of times. I was out there in March. And I understand what the community is going through. They've got bungalows, post-war bungalows, and there's a lot of new development. I don't particularly like the house style, Peter, but I'm not asked to like the house style, and I'm not an authority on any house design. So I can see that there are concerns here. I think you have tried to marry what you can with the community. I think in this case, the community is going to have to expect that there will be changes. That's all the comments I want to make at the moment.
Okay, so first of all, we don't deal with architectural styles through this committee. We can only talk about the variance, which is the increase in the floor area. And that's what the application is about. Member M, you had a comment?
Yeah, it was just basically while we're in committee, but I think that they've really worked to try to fit in with what is required by the bylaw. They removed all variances except for one, and it's very close to, you know, what has been permitted elsewhere on the street and surrounding the community. It changes hard, I get that. But with time, there's evolution of communities, and what was, you know, appropriate back in the 40s as wartime bungalows may not be appropriate in 2021. And we have to look at what is before us today, and what is before us today is just one variance for FSI. Like you had said, Madam Chair, there is no architectural guidelines for this area. And while people may not like the way it looks, that is not in anybody's purview. You know, an applicant is able to design whatever they want in terms of the style of their house if there's no architectural design guidelines to abide by. So, you know, I do think that this is an appropriate application. Like, they're meeting all of the other requirements. They're beyond the side yard requirements. I really don't see the issue with the one variance before us.
Okay, thank you, Amy. All right, any further comment before I actually take the matter into committee?
I wanted to say, sorry, one last thing.
No, Amy, just bear with me. Just bear with me.
Okay.
The matter is still not into committee. The floor is still open So I just
Okay.
want to just double check last if there's any further question of Peter before I close the door. Okay. All right. So Peter, we now take the matter into committee. Committee members, the floor is yours. Amy, go ahead.
I just wanted to finish my last statement. You know, as of right, this person can come in pretty much and build almost the identical house, right? Like, I think that he was saying something about the footprint. I mean, on the footprint, they could possibly achieve this FSI without expanding really the footprint. So, you know, it's really hard to deny an application that pretty much only has one variance and everything else complies. It meets the bylaw in my two senses, because as of right, they could almost permit it the identical proposal.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any further comments? Any remarks? Okay. Thank you very much. We had a good hearing. We heard the residents raise concerns about the application. We heard Peter provide a rebuttal to those concerns. We had some good comments from Member M and Member Macaulay. Now is the time to make a motion.
Go ahead, Doc.
Member Taylor, please go ahead.
Go ahead.
Member M. You can get the next one.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very much influenced by the comments made by members M and Macaulay on this one. I'm very influenced by the fact that this proposal doesn't offend any yard variances. In fact, on at least one side, the side yard is being exceeded. There are no height variances. The lot coverage is well within permitted. And yes, it doesn't quite meet the 0.5 times lot area or lesser of 279. But I think all in all, this is a very reasonable, sensitive proposal in keeping with what is permitted as of right. So I move approval, subject to urban forestry conditions 2 and 3.
Okay. May I have a seconder? Member M?
I'll second that motion, Madam Chair.
All in favor of this motion? The motion's carried. The application has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you for.
Okay. Going on to the next item that was held. This is item number 22 for 77 Randstone Gardens. And we have Clinton Dochuk. And Clinton, are you with us?
I am, Madam Chair.
Okay, so Clinton, the reason why we held this application was because we have a memo from Urban Forestry recommending refusal. So would you like to comment on that, and what are your thoughts on that recommendation? Could you give us a little bit more insight into the issue?
Absolutely. Looking at Google Maps, as well as the letter that was sent to me through Ali just a few moments ago when this was originally held, I can see the concerns that Urban Forestry has with the tree that is back there. I have spoken with my clients, and with the acceptance of the plans that were prepared by Home Drafting and Design on June 30th and submitted, we'd like to move ahead with the variances, with the understanding that if the committee does accept this today, in conjunction with the letter that was sent by Urban Forestry, that we would require approval from Urban Forestry to either injure or remove that tree to build this proposed dwelling.
Okay. Members of the committee, any questions? Okay. All right, so are we prepared to take the matter into committee and make a recommendation on the application? Make a motion, actually, not a recommendation. Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much for clarifying that. Members of the committee, if there are no further discussion, may I please have a motion? Member Taylor, please go ahead.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm satisfied that the variances meet the 4 tests under the Planning Act. I believe we can address the concerns of urban forestry by imposing their condition 1 with respect to the city-owned tree. So my motion would be to approve subject to urban forestry condition 1.
Okay. May I have a seconder, please? Member M?
I'll second that motion, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried and the application has been approved subject to condition of urban forestry. Thank you very much. We now move to the next item that was held, and this is item 25. Item 25 is for 171 Midland Avenue. We have Jason Kiefer as the agent. Jason, are you with us?
Hello?
Yes, Jason.
Hello, hello.
Yes,
Thanks,
I can.
everyone.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so would you like me to go ahead with my presentation?
I was about to ask you, so would you like to present or would you rather go right into the questions?
I would like to present.
Okay, all right. So you have 5 minutes. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. So I'm Jason Kiefer from Kiefer Structural Engineering. I'm representing Tara and Mark Doyle at 171 Midland, the owners of the property, and they're proposing a detached garage. So that we have 3 minor variances relating to the proposal, and the variances relate to building height and the side yard setback. So for the height of the proposed garage, we're looking at about a 15% increase in the building height. That'd be about 2 feet. And then for the side yard setback, we're looking at a 50% reduction in the setback to about 3 meters on either side. So why are we asking for a little more height for this garage? It's primarily aesthetic and design choice. We're trying to provide a design that complements the character of Stop 14 because it is a unique property and it's a heritage property. And we're looking for something that looks a little bit different. That's the reason for that. Then the reason for the reduction in the setbacks is primarily due to the location that we had to select for the garage. We're pretty restricted in what we could do in the rear yard, and that's mostly due to the tree protection zones and the existing parking. So we didn't want to affect the trees or affect the current parking arrangement. So we're advised by an arborist really that was the only suitable location for the garage. And as a result, we've got the lower setbacks than are what are required. I think these are reasonable variances because we have streets surrounding the property on either side yard rather than lots, neighboring lots. So that the increase in height that we're looking at and the reduction in the setbacks won't adversely affect any of the neighboring lots because there are none immediate. And should say also that the 3 meter setback, side yard setback is the accepted side yard setback if the lot was a typically shaped lot, rectangular lot, then we would be looking at a 3-meter setback. So we're maintaining that at least. And lastly, I just want to say that that's a positive development for the lot because it adds parking, and the garage will also add a residential feel to the property that, you know, the existing dwelling does, the existing building does look commercial because it was originally a commercial building, and adding in this garage will, yeah, give the property a more residential feel. That's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Any questions for Jason at this time? Okay, all right, Jason, thank you for your time. I will now move to speaking with the first registered speaker, Jim Savada.
I am here.
All right, sir, you
Thank
have
you.
5 minutes, and please let us know what your concerns are with the application.
I'll be fairly brief here. We've been, Kathy and I, my wife, we've been involved in 170 for quite a long time. It's kind of got a long and shady place, but I will commend the current owner who've done a great job of restoring the exterior of the place. Just looks superb. The property's been a single-family residential at least from the 1930s. Scarborough bylaw in May '85 allowed an art gallery, a craft shop, and ancillary uses in the living room on the ground floor for a maximum of 35 roughly square meters and a minimum of 3 parking spaces. The rest of the dwelling would remain single family residential. Under the current owner, the property has a retail operation as allowed by that 1985 bylaw, but also has 3 apartments. That was a bit of a surprise, but let's move on to the garage. We oppose the height variation, have no problem with setbacks. A regular size single car garage, I think, would be tolerable, but the proposed height is unreasonable for a single car garage. It'd be a monolithic eyesore from our property. Well, it's almost 3 feet higher than my own garage, so it's pretty large. I don't know why there's the extra height. The lower level is about 9 feet, way more than you require for a car. Is it a garage, or is it actually a large storage shed for the retail operation? I don't know if that'd make any difference in the application of variance. Okay. The garage entry, according to the plan, appears to be blocked by 2 parking spaces in front of the door. So how do you get into it? Who is the proposed garage for? The owners don't live there. Is it for a tenant? It's a customer. I can't see customer uses in park garage. Does the parking garage infringe on city space? I don't know. But lastly, I guess an interesting point with the bylaw is there's 5 parking spaces shown in the plan. One of which is the proposed garage, which I already mentioned is blocked. The retail operation, according to the bylaw, requires at least 3 parking spaces. There's 3 apartments. Are there in fact enough parking spaces? So the bottom line is, are there enough parking spaces, and we don't like the height. That's it.
All right, thank you very much. Jim, members of the committee, any questions for Jim? All right, okay. We move to our next speaker, Dorothy Emerson. Dorothy.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So Dorothy, you have 5 minutes.
Yes,
Please go ahead.
I'm at 1 Kilsonia Avenue, and directly across from, well, not directly across, but across, we're on the other corner. And my husband, Thomas, and I share ownership of 279 Scarborough Crescent with our son, David. And the driveway in the yard at 171 Midland Avenue, they keep widening it, gradually putting down more stone and making the grass area so much smaller. And anyway, this proposed ancillary building will take up more ground, making the existing grass area even smaller. And the gate on Midland Avenue side is wider than the existing driveway going into the side and backyards, so that part of the driveway will have to be widened to match up with the end of the gate. And the proposed ancillary building will use at least, like Jim said, at least one parking space, if not more than one, part of one on one side and part of one on the other, and to allow the entry and exiting of a vehicle. And anyway, so this leaves 3 parking spaces, one for each apartment. There are 2 apartments, and one for Stop 14 store. So that's the 3 parking spaces. And who knows what kind of vehicles will be using the driveway? What size trucks? Have no idea. And anyway, and the yard itself with this building will look very commercial. As you come down through Midland Avenue and Kingston Road, whether you're walking or driving, the house certainly looks residential, looks lovely. But as you turn onto Kelsonia, it just looks it will look very commercial. And this is just the beginning in our area. There'll be more people wanting commercial properties. And the no stopping signs on the west side of Scarborough Crescent from Kelsonia up to the top, where Scarborough Crescent is blocked off from the main intersection of Kingston Road and Midland Avenue, those signs were removed because the owner said he needed more parking. And anyway, so they were removed, but so they could park cars on the west side of Scarborough Crescent. Now, on the east side, it has always been that there were 2 cars parked in front of our home at 279 Scarborough Crescent. But that remains. That's been for years and years. It's always been that way. So if there are cars parked on the west side of Scarborough Crescent and 2 cars parked in front of 279 house.
Madam Chair, can
sorry.
we just have her stick to the variances?
Yes,
There's no
yes.
parking variances before us today.
Yes.
Well, I'm getting at, like, that's why they needed more parking on the west side or anywhere for their store.
But Dorothy,
And,
I just want to clarify that if you can just focus on the variances that are before us today. We're not here to talk about parking or other issues. We need to,
Driveway width.
you need to go to the
Landscaping.
variances and stick to it.
Right. Yeah. Well, anyway, we feel that the building is too high, and it's also too big. I mean, there'll be very little grass left, hardly any, and we are opposed to that. So we are opposed to these variances, and I did send a note. We did send a note and info by email on August 16, 21. We were rushed because we thought we had until August 23 to get the letter emailed. So we didn't have much time, and that's why the information we sent was quite messy. And so that's all I need to say, that we do not want the variance to go through. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dorothy. Your comments were heard, and I'm sure Jason will respond to those when he gets his turn. Next speaker on the list, Kathy Sawada.
Through the chair, Kathy has not joined us today.
Okay, thank you very much. David Emerson?
Yeah, hi, how you doing?
Good, thank you. Thank you for taking the time. You have 5 minutes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yep, that was my mom anyway. Yeah, we are against the variances for this building because it's going to be too high. It's taken away a lot of grass area, and as my mom mentioned, they keep widening the driveway over there. So their 4 parking spots they're supposed to have is now turned into 5 and 6. Anyway, the doors for this garage open up into parking spots, and they're going to take away parking. How are you going to use a garage if cars are parked in front of it? Doors opening up on page 5 of plans. Okay, if cars are parked in front of the garage and there is a fire, isn't this breaking fire prevention, fire code regulations? As they need their parking day and night for
Sir, again,
for their business.
I'm sorry to say that, but we're not talking about parking here. Any of issues related to on-street parking or fire?
This is against the garage. How can this not be against the garage if the cars are going to be parked right up against it?
No, I understand. You can comment on the variances. I'm not saying that you don't, but we're not here talking about parking issues.
I'm not talking about parking issues. I'm talking about parking issues. How are you going to get in the garage?
Okay.
Isn't this about the garage?
Okay, all right.
This is what I'm bringing up.
Okay.
This is about the garage, cars being parked in front because they got commercial spots for their business with cars being parked right against the garage doors.
The variances at hand are the height and the side lot line, not about the location of the door or parking spots adjacent to said door.
This is about the parking, and this is about the garage. Because how are you supposed to park in front of a garage?
Okay, all right, sir. I think
With doors. This is against fire codes. And what if a kid gets trapped in there when cars are parked right against the garage?
Okay. All right.
This garage is going right up to the parking spaces. If not, on the plans it says as the plans aren't proper because one plan it shows the garage is going to go into the parking spaces, which they don't have enough parking now. And the other plan shows it right back to the parking spots. So now where's this garage going to go? Because they keep widening their driveway.
So
widening it and lengthening it.
Has been reviewed by the zoning examiner, who would have absolutely took a look at the parking requirements. If they needed a variance for additional parking, that would have been part of this application or flagged. Also, for fire safety, it will be reviewed when a building permit is applied for. Fire services will review the design and ensure there is no life safety concerns. But once again, none of that is within the purview of this committee here today. This committee here today is only to deal with the height of the structure and the setback of said structure.
Well, this is where the structure is going to go, in front of their parking.
Okay,
How can you use a garage if there's cars parked against it?
Okay.
So it's too close to the parking area. For one thing, the doors can't open. So if the doors can't open as they're opening up into the parking spots, how are they going to use parking spots when they only have 4 parking spots? The cars are going to be parked on the road now.
Okay, all right. Thank you, sir. You have 50 seconds left if you want to close your remarks.
Yeah, well, I hope there's no more lighting going to be over here on our property as their lights shine over here into our house already, straight across the road. So I hope there's no more lighting issues from this garage.
Okay, all right. All right, sir.
So I guess I can't be heard, so thank you very much.
All right, thanks a lot, sir, for taking the time to speak with us.
Thanks. Bye. Wasted my day.
Okay. Now, can we have, I believe this was the last speaker on the list. So we are going to go back to Jason. Jason, you heard the comments. and the residents have raised some concerns about the garage itself. What are your thoughts? Could you provide a response, please?
Yeah, just sticking to the variances on the application. No one seems to raise a concern about the setbacks, so I don't need to address that. The first speaker did mention height, and I believe one of the Emersons, the 2-foot difference may be a problem for them. What I'd say is that this property really is quite removed from their lots. It's buffered by 2 major streets. So they're at quite a distance from the garage. And it won't directly affect their properties. I think the intent of the height law is when you have a garage in your backyard to limit the height so that it doesn't cast shadow or affect visibility to the adjacent neighboring lots. And so this is a unique case. And like I said at the beginning, it's a unique property, heritage property. And so we're just trying to do something a little bit different. And we did work with heritage on this. And yeah, I think that addresses both of the, well, just the one concern there about the height.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Any questions for Jason? Okay, I see none. All right, we take the matter into committee now. Members of the committee, if there are no further questions or comments, can I please have a motion? Member M, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to state that, with the road being adjacent to the property, there's a minimum separation distance of 26 meters, as that's the standard right-of-way width for the City of Toronto collector roads. So in my eyes, I don't see how a 2-foot difference would be indistinguishable from that far away. I don't think you could tell the difference between a 4-meter structure and a 4.82 meter structure from almost 30 meters away. I think that would be indistinguishable. So that's how I feel about the height. The second thing is the setbacks. It, to me, is a technical constraint, given that this is a triangular property. Otherwise, if it was a standard rectangular property, there wouldn't be the need for this variance. It's a pinch point, and it's as a result of the lot configuration being what it is and very technical in nature, and there's no way around that. Once again, I mean, this has gone through a zoning review. It will go through another zoning review with the building permit application, and at that point, they will definitely take a look at the parking again and ensure that there is no need for parking relief, as well as no safety concerns with the placement or the design of the accessory structure. So from a professional planning standpoint, I do feel that the 2 variances before us today meet the 4 tests of the Planning Act. This is a very unique situation and therefore should be addressed as such. Thank you.
Thank you, Member M. Any further remarks? Okay, all right. So can I please have a motion? Members,
Through the chair, just one point of clarification. The report that has the reports that you have before you, one of them is actually from Heritage Planning, not Community Planning. I just wanted to make that clarification because they're recommending conditions.
correct.
So it's Heritage Planning.
Okay, thank you for flagging that. So members of the committee, we did receive a staff report, not from community planning, but from heritage planning this time. And they have a condition in it: prior to the issuance of a building permit drawings, including plans, elevations, and details shall be submitted to the satisfaction of the senior manager, heritage planning, urban design, and a heritage permit shall be obtained under the provisions of Section 33 of the Ontario Heritage Act. So that is a condition that has been provided to us. I should check with the applicant, Jason, if he is aware of this condition. Jason? Could you please confirm if you are aware of this condition and if you have any concern?
Yes, we're aware and no concerns.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Thank you, Colin, for flagging that. Are there any other conditions that we need to be aware
Urban
of?
forestry.
Urban forestry conditions? Okay, all right. So we,
Yes, we're aware of those.
okay, so,
And I believe an application has already been submitted.
okay, so you're aware of those conditions. Okay, so on that note, members of the committee, can I please have a motion? Member Said, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, Jason, for all your elaborations. I believe the variants before the committee today are minor and appropriate. So, and with your acknowledgement that you understand the condition of urban forestry as well as the condition from the heritage, with those conditions, I put forward motion for approval of item number 25.
May I have a seconder, please? Member Macaulay.
Madam Chair, I second that motion, subject to those two conditions.
Right, all in favor? And the motion is carried. The application is approved, subject to conditions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we go to the next item that was held. This is item number 30. Item 30 is for 43 McIntosh Street. And can we have Patrick, please?
Hello?
Hello, Patrick.
Hello? Yes.
So, Patrick, would you like to make a presentation or do you want to go right into questions if there are any?
I'll just make a comment first. I'd like everybody to remember that this is not a request for committee to build a laneway house. The laneway house is totally permissible. It's only because it happens to be a corner lot and we have a problem with the side yard setback and because of the soft landscaping issue. Those are the only two issues that we're dealing with, not the fact that it's a laneway house. Okay?
Okay, perfect. So the laneway house is permitted as of right. This is not what the application is about. It is to seek variances to reduce the required soft landscaping requirements and the reduction to the required east side yard setback. Perfect. Okay, anything else, Patrick, before we go into questions?
No, that's it.
Okay, all right. Member Macaulay, I see you have your hand raised. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Patrick, I saw that this was a laneway house. I also saw that there was a comment from the community about parking in the lane. Can you show us the design and can you also show us where the parking is for the existing house and where parking for the laneway house will be?
You're speaking to me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. The parking for the existing house, there is no parking for the existing house, and there is no parking required for the existing house. There is parking that is being provided for the laneway house.
And where is the access to that?
It is right off the lane and right off the lane. It's right in front of the laneway house, and it's totally within the property.
Okay, and so there's no driveway there. Is it a garage?
No, it's all concrete back there, so you just drive up in front of your house and park, period. It's a lane.
It's like a parking pad, and where you park parallel to the house. It's very common.
Okay, I just saw this line here, which leads me to believe that the parking is inside some of the house.
No.
Okay.
That's at the existing garage being
That's
removed.
the existing garage is to be removed, and there will be no parking space for the existing house. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And you don't need a variance to delete parking for the existing house?
No.
There's no requirement.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Any further questions? All right, I see none. Let's go to Let's go to our first speaker.
Through the chair, I believe the applicant wanted to present.
No,
Didn't he?
No.
I'm sorry. My apologies.
no. Patrick said he
No,
can
I'm
go.
fine.
Yeah.
My apologies.
He said go right into the questions and we dealt with it. Okay, so next is Randy Cooper, neighbor in opposition. Randy, you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, sir, you have 5 minutes and please let us know what your concerns are with the application.
Well, the first concern I have is when they're putting, are they going to be, there's two separate dwellings going onto the laneway, right? Are they going to be two separate, is it going to be two separate addresses, two separate houses? And where's the green space in the back going?
Is that a question?
And also,
Is that a question right now that you
Yeah.
want to be answered, or could you wait until we have the
no, I'll
applicant back?
continue on. I'll continue. I got 5 minutes, right?
Okay. Yeah, you have 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, and as living in this neighborhood for as long as I have, the people that are trying to get this, now I know this doesn't really apply, but it's documented with the city that these people were killing the trees on that property prior to applying for this variance. And it's documented with the city right now. And there's also, they also want, I saw in the plans that they're looking for another parking space at the front of the existing house. There's no parking there. There's never any parking there. And if you do put a parking pad in there, you would have to remove another tree. So, you know, and unfortunately, the city had leaked out the information of the person that had complained and caught them killing these said trees, and they were accosted by, this woman was 84 years old, was accosted by these people. So I understand this doesn't really apply to the variance, but it's of questionable character. That applies. Like, I mean, this stuff's going on here right now, and a lady's getting bullied by these people, and she's 85 years old. So, you know, does killing trees, does that mean that you should now then all of a sudden, we're talking big trees here that were killed, okay? So that's the concern I have. I have a concern of this whole place, what they're proposing, and how truthful they really are on what they want to do. There's an existing garage there now, and it would have to be removed for them to put a place in there. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you, Randy. I understand that Eric Kemp is with you as well.
Pardon me?
All right. Nothing. I just want to know if Eric Kemp would like to speak as well.
He's not here at the moment. He's gone out for a bit, and he's not here at this moment because we've been on the phone for a while. We didn't really know exactly. You've got so much on your plate there that we don't really know exactly the time. So he's not here at the moment, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I wanted to check because he's listed as a speaker and with the note that he will be with Randy. So I just wanted to confirm. All right. So we have to carry on and move forward with the item. So going back to Patrick. Patrick, you heard Randy express his concerns. Could you please respond?
Well, I have no idea what trees he would be talking about because in the area that we are building this laneway house, there is absolutely no trees. And if there was a tree issue, it certainly doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing now. And as far as parking goes, we're providing the parking that is required. Period. In fact, we're providing parking for the laneway house as well. Okay, that's about it. I think I have to say.
Okay, and I believe earlier on he had questions about two addresses or two houses or access to the property and so on. Would you like to shed some light on that?
Well, it's a laneway house, and it is still part of 43 McIntosh. Now, as to addresses and all that, I don't know how that gets treated. This is the first one I've done, so I don't know how new addresses get treated with regard to laneway houses yet.
Okay, and of course, this has no relationship with the variances or the application that's before us. That would be a separate process for all intent and purposes. Okay, so
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Members of the committee, any further questions for Patrick at this time? Okay, I see none. Well, thank you, Patrick. I will go into the committee. Before I go, I just want to confirm with you, there's a staff report from community planning, and they have a recommended condition that should the committee approve, that the owner shall build substantially in accordance with the drawing SB1. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am.
And do you have any concerns with that condition?
None whatsoever.
All right, thank you for confirming. I didn't see any urban forestry conditions. All right, so back to the committee. We take the matter into committee now. Any discussion, or are you prepared for a motion? Member M.
Just want a statement quickly. So likely the addressing will be an A-B situation. It will be clear. There will be a separation between that. But I just wanted to state that I'm happy to see this application. Laneway Suites Initiative was launched by the city, and they've established programs to really encourage property owners to do this because, like I had said in our morning session, we are in a housing crisis, and affordable housing is just really, really hard to come by within the city of Toronto. And all people of all income levels, of all family sizes, deserve the opportunity to come into a neighborhood's designation and shouldn't be refined to just having to live in apartment complexes. And that's really the intent behind this program, is to allow accessibility for all sorts of people to access neighborhoods that wouldn't otherwise be able to because it's normally single family homes. So I just wanted to state that that is where this is coming from, and from a planning perspective, this is also why I very much support this application. So with that, I'm prepared to put forward a motion to approve item number 30, subject to community planning condition that ties the development to the site plan. And I see no other conditions.
Okay, thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member Taylor, please go ahead.
Yes, I'll happily second that motion, Madam Chair.
Okay, all in favor of this motion? All opposed? Member Macaulay opposes the motion. However, the motion is carried and the application is approved, subject to the conditions. Thank you. All right, we now move to our next item, item number 34, and this is 423 Guildwood Parkway. And we have, I know we had parked this morning because to discuss the deferral recommendation. So can we have David online, please?
Yes, good afternoon again, Madam Chair.
Good
and
afternoon,
committee
David.
members.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your patience. So we had started to talk about this recommendation from the community planning, recommending deferral of this application to further discuss or give the opportunity. So I believe Member Macaulay had some questions, or one of the members. Okay, Member Macaulay, do you want to start?
Thank you. We have a staff report that is asking for a deferral of this application so that they can continue further investigations, specifically with the drainage on this property, because they're obviously going to be changing it by putting in a swimming pool. The applicant surprised me by saying he objects to this deferral. And I wasn't sure why he was objecting to the deferral. And I didn't know whether, and there was a question to staff as to whether, as part of the building permit application for the pool, the drainage on the site and the grading of the site would be looked at. I'm bearing in mind that this is a property, a house on the south side of Guildwood Parkway. It backs onto the bluffs. A number of houses on that street have been bought by TRCA because of the ongoing erosion of the bluffs. In fact, the school at that location is going to be closed again because of the erosion of the bluffs. So this to me seems like a safety issue that somebody should look at before they go in and put in a pool that may change the drainage of the area and may cause erosion. So perhaps the applicant can explain why he objects.
Yes, for sure. So through you, Madam Chair. Um, so we're objecting to the planning staff report um, because we have had extensive consultation with the TRCA, and as noted within their staff report that they have issued for this application, they have no objections to the proposed works in the rear yard. I would also like to note that uh, the the planning staff report that was issued yesterday um, notes that their main concern is related to drainage, as you mentioned, and the landscaping concern is a result of their concerns with drainage on the property. However, the landscaping that we are proposing, the rear yard soft landscaping that we are proposing, is actually at 57.6%, whereas the bylaw requires a 50% minimum of rear yard soft landscaping. So based on the fact that we are compliant with rear yard soft landscaping and all landscaping requirements on the property, uh, the proposed landscaping, which would assist in infiltration and stormwater management on the property, is already contemplated by the bylaw, and we are over and above what the minimum requirement is for soft landscaping on the property. And as I noted, the city planning staff report was issued yesterday. City planning staff made no um, proactive move to contact me while this application was through the process. I have had contact with the TRCA, with archaeological staff, as well as staff from RNFP. So there have been consultation with numerous city departments on this application, and at no point during the committee process did city planning staff reach out to me. Their concerns that were issued yesterday were the first time I heard from them, and I did reach out to them once those concerns were made aware to me, and they noted that the main concern is the drainage, and their concerns with landscaping is coming from those concerns related to the drainage. But again, any drainage concerns, those are not within the purview of this committee, and that is something that is dealt with through the appropriate permitting process. Just to add, I don't believe a building permit is even required for this proposal because there are no um, structures that would require a building permit being proposed. However, the pool does require a pool enclosure permit, and I believe that drainage concerns would be addressed through that permitting process. So that is why I am objecting to city planning staff's deferral request, and I would like for the application to be heard today. And I would also just like to note that as per Chapter 550.10.7, swimming pools in residential zones are actually considered as soft landscaping. So the proposal is entirely compliant with landscaping requirements. There is only one variance associated with this proposal, and that is a setback to the top edge of the Scarborough Bluffs. And TRCA have no issues with the variance. And I will note that almost all the dwellings on this side of Guildwood Parkway are entirely within the 76-meter required setback to the top edge of the bluff. So this is an existing condition in the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you, David. That is quite explanatory. I would just add a comment to the committee members is that this is a TRC regulated area as well. Permits are required. Any of those, in my experience in working with TRC, those are the type of things that TRC typically looks at, drainage and grading and so on and so forth. there's a permit process required. In my opinion, TRCA will be looking at this through the permit process anyways. And as we all know, through our experience here at the committee, that building department, applications that go to building department, grading issues and drainage issues on the property or effect on the adjacent properties are looked at through the building permit process as well. So I think there's enough buffer and protection measures going forward. In my opinion, it's not a concern to me, at least at this time. The grading and drainage will certainly be looked at, but there are other avenues that could be utilized and which are part of this process anyways. So on that note, I'm just going to ask the committee members if there are any questions. Okay, I see none. All right, David, we take the matter into committee. And members of the committee, if there are no further remarks, may I please have a motion?
Madam Chair, I have a quick question from David. I raised my hand. I think I
Oh,
was late.
I'm sorry.
Can I have?
I'm sorry about
It's
that.
okay. Can I put just a short question from David before
Sure.
we are in the committee?
Sure, please go
Okay.
ahead.
Thank you very much. David, you were telling you have a thorough discussion with the TRCA, and you are quite on the same page, right? There is no, and also I don't see any comments from the environmental planning over here. Tell me one thing about. I'm just going to focus on this one variance. I'm looking at the drawing, could not figure out what is the exact distance between the building structure and the pool. Could you just give me an idea of that?
Through you, Madam Chair, the committee member cut out towards the end of his question, but I think the question was, what is the actual distance for the variance? Is that correct?
Is the actual, not the variance. I understand that is about 11 meters from the edge of the Scarborough Bluffs. I'm asking about the distance between the structure of the building and the distance between the pool.
Okay, yeah. So through you, Madam Chair, the distance between the structure, the existing dwelling and the proposed pool is approximately it's just below 8 meters. You can see or my apologies, let me just add it up here. Just give me 1 second. So through you, Madam Chair, the distance from the existing dwelling to the proposed pool is 10.89 meters.
Okay, thank you very much, David. I think we have a fairly good picture. Mohammed, are you satisfied? Brian, can I have the screen back, please? Thank you. Okay, so no further questions then? Okay, so now I really take the matter into committee. Committee members, can I have a motion, please? Member Taylor, please go ahead.
Madam Chair, given the nature of what's being requested here, I think the key agency that we can look to get comfort is from the TRCA.
Correct.
And they have approved the application. And as you pointed out, they'll be involved in future steps toward completing the pool project, as will the city. So I'm quite content to declare this variance to be in keeping with the 4 tests, and I move for approval without conditions.
Okay, thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member M, please go ahead.
I'll second that motion, Madam Chair.
Right, all in favor of this motion? The motion is carried. The application has been approved.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you. All right. So we now move on to our next item that was held, and this is item number 35, 188 Phyllis Avenue. And we have Jesse Raju Kenneth as the applicant. There are 3 applicants. I'm just going to check for the first one who would like to speak. So Jesse Raju Kenneth, are you with us?
Yes, I am here, but on my behalf, Kulvinder will speak for this project.
Okay, so we have three listed, yourself, Faisal, and Kulvinder, and you have confirmed that Kulvinder will be speaking?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Jose. Ali, can we have Kulvinder, please? Thank you. Thank you. Kulvinder, you're with us?
Yeah.
Can I, through the chair, can I ask that people turn off their other devices? Because there's a bit of an echo.
Good suggestion. So,
Thank you.
Um,
Sorry about that.
yeah, so please turn off your other devices because it causes a lot of interruption. So, Kulvinder.
Yes. Good afternoon, Madam Chair.
So, Kulvinder, you have 5 minutes. Would you like to present, or would you rather go into the questions from the committee members?
I would like to present the application.
Okay, so you have 5 minutes and the floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. So basically, we are constructing a new two-story detached dwelling unit, and we have there are 5 variances, and among one we're gonna eliminate, which is the second one. The very first one is about the floor area, and the second one is about the building length, which is of 17.22 meters, which is a proposed one. However, we are eliminating the building length of 17.22 meters to 17 meters, which will eventually reduce our floor area and which will reduce our the variance number 1 as well. So we will be eliminating the variance number 2, and the variance number 1 will be reduced by 2.5 square meters, which will end up having our floor area of 345.5 square meters. And since the third variance and the four variance is quite the same, which is of the height, and it's 9.5 meters. And since the permitted height is of 9 meters only, we are just going 0.5 meters above the beyond the permitted height, which is, I believe that it is very minor in nature. And the last variance is another height. The variance is about height, which is of 8.29 meters, which we have proposed, and the permitted one is the 7 meters. And I assume with the existing new developments in the neighborhood, I believe that this is also very minor in nature.
Okay, sorry, Kulvinder. Are you still on?
No, I'm done.
Oh, so sorry. Okay, I just wanted to confirm. Staff was letting me know about something, so I was just distracted for a minute. Okay, so at this point, my question to the committee members is there any question for the applicant? Okay, I see none. So Kulvinder, just stay tuned. We are now going to speak with the two speakers who have registered to speak in opposition. So, Ali, can we have Tanya, please? Tanya.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Tanya, and you have 5 minutes. Please go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Tanya Baksh, and I currently reside with my family at 214 Oak Ridge Drive for the last 20 years. I am an active member of the Cliffcrest Scarborough Village Southwest Residents Association Planning and Development Committee. We are an incorporated residents association which is registered and recognized by the City of Toronto. The Residents Association is working to preserve the unique nature of our neighborhoods and does not support the application to replace the dwelling located at 188 Phyllis Avenue. Can you please pull up the frontal overlay attachment number 1 on page number 4 in the Residents Association letter of objection? Over the years, our members have seen the gradual increase in home size throughout our community. Generally, these developments have been done while respecting the general zoning characteristics of our neighborhood. That is, single-family homes of 1.5 to 2 stories with adequate setbacks. Recently, this has been observed to change with larger and larger homes being requested, and with little regards to the potential negative impacts on the neighbors. This application is an egregious example of this growing attitude. This type of development we can and will oppose at every opportunity. Now to the variances. Since they have removed variance number 2, the building length, I will no longer speak on that. Can you please pull up the frontal overlay of the proposed development Oh, it should already, yeah, it's already up. Thank you. Variance number 3 and 4, the dwelling height, and the variance number 5, exterior height of the sidewalls. This proposed development is 0.5 larger than the permitted dwelling height at 9.5 meters and is 1.29 taller than the permitted exterior sidewalls at 8.29 meters. This proposed development would tower over the adjacent homes on either side. The massing and towering effect of this proposal will cast a shadow, diminishing natural light in the neighboring homes throughout the day. These homes are aligned east-west and with similar alignment as other proposed developments in the neighborhood that we have opposed in the past at lower dwelling heights and provided sun shadow studies that demonstrated this diminished natural light for the neighboring homes at times throughout the day. We are aware that the city does not require sun shadow studies for residential developments, but there would be an impact on the neighboring homes with this egregious development on their natural light, and this proposed development would loom ominously over the adjacent bungalow homes. This proposed development is not within the prevailing character of the homes in the immediate area, as well as the extended area. The proposal represents an excessively large footprint while negatively impacting the abutting neighbors. This proposed new dwelling is distinctly out of character within homes on Phyllis Avenue. This application does not represent appropriate development of the site. In closing, we welcome and support positive development in our neighborhood, but all these variances in this application are not minor and will have a detrimental impact on the neighboring homes. We join our neighbors in requesting that you refuse this application. Thank you for the opportunity to address the committee.
Thank you, Tanya, for your time. We now move to the next speaker, Philip Wolframe.
Yes, good afternoon, committee members. My name is Philip Wolframe, and I currently reside with my family at 187 Phyllis Avenue. I've been a proud member of the Cliffcrest community for more than 3 decades, and have lived directly across from the street from the proposed development for the last 3 years. Also, I've been asked by Fred and Carrie Forster of 186 Phyllis Avenue to speak on their behalf as they are unable to participate today. Madam Chair, in an effort to facilitate expediency in the process, I will be speaking on behalf of the immediate neighbors in opposition. As you have seen with our neighborhood petition letter, there are 56 individual residents who have signed our letter of objection to this proposal. 11 of the names of the petition are from the immediate neighbors and includes all surrounding homes to the proposed development. Can you please pull up attachment number 3 from page 6 of the Residents Association letter? Great.
Brian, could you please help?
Yeah. Sorry?
No, sorry, I was just requesting staff to put it up. So this is the one you want?
Yeah, got it. Yes, that's showing the neighbors in opposition to the proposed development.
Okay, thank you.
And to be clear, we are supportive of development that respects the existing characteristics of our neighborhood, but oppose the overdevelopment which removes healthy tree canopy, reduces privacy, removes access to the elements which make our neighborhood and homes so desirable. And if I may comment and build off from your early comment of accessibility to affordable housing, pushing the limits does further stress accessibility to housing to these bigger and bigger dwellings. Can you please pull up slide number 2 on page 5 from the Residents Association letter of opposition that shows the character of the immediate neighborhood? Great. The community believes that this house is not keeping with the prevailing heights, massing scale, and density of houses in our neighborhood, which relates to official plan policy 415C. The community is very disappointed that the applicant has not attempted to introduce themselves nor reach out to any of the local neighbors to discuss their hopes for this house. This did not allow us to express our concerns to come to a proposal collaboratively as neighbors. And now to the variances which we are here to talk about. Can you please pull up frontal overlay attachment 1 on page 4? So for variance 1, floor area, our neighborhood consists mainly of bungalows to 1.5 to 2-story homes with spacious front, back, and side setbacks. As you can see from this drafted frontal overlay, the proposed development is well out of range to other homes in the immediate vicinity. It's not keeping with the prevailing character of our broader neighborhood. The proposed development, and I'm sorry if I missed that the numbers may have changed just earlier from the applicant, but currently it's 25% greater than the allowable floor area. And I'd argue that is not a minor variance request. This variance request exceeds by more than half the side of the houses beside it. Can you please flip slide 5, which is page 11, included in the letter? Thank you. So as you can see from the gross floor area and FSI charts, the proposed development is not keeping with the character of the neighborhood. Phyllis Avenue consists of 28 homes between Lowell Avenue and Rockwood. Over 90% of the homes are 1 to 1.5 story homes on this block. The remaining 10% homes are 2 stories, but are within the generous zoning guidelines, with exception to the one. The gross floor area for this block ranges from 81 meters squared to 328 meters squared, with an average of only 121 meters squared. The proposed at 348 meters squared is too large and well out of range of the character of the neighborhood. The associated FSI ranges from 0.11 to 0.045, with an average of only 0.17. The proposed is 0.5. This is well outside our current range, including recently built dwellings and new developments on the street. It is not keeping with the prevailing massing of our neighborhood and fails to meet the intent of the official plan, policy 4.15C. The proposed development is not with the prevailing character of the homes in the immediate area and extended area. It represents an excessively large floor footprint while negatively impacting the abutting neighbors. The proposed new dwelling is distinctly out of character of the homes on Phyllis Avenue and does not represent appropriate development of the site. In closing, we encourage the applicant to discuss, and we support positive development in our neighborhood, but the variances in the application are not minor and have a detrimental impact on our ability to enjoy our home and our neighborhood. We join our neighbors in requesting that you refuse this application. Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity to address the committee.
Thank you, Philip. Members of the committee, questions for Philip? Okay, seeing none. All right, thank you. I believe this brings us to the last speaker. That is the last speaker. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Kulvinder. Kulvinder, can we have you, please?
Please.
All right, thank you, Kulvinder. So you heard the concerns and comments from the neighbors. Would you like to respond, please?
Yes, thank you so much, everybody, for their feedbacks. And I would like to address that the size of the house, since the floor area, everybody is talking about the lot coverage area. So I would like to mention that in the neighborhood, we have certain developments which have the same characteristics of as our new development. The house number 194, 174, they have the similar characteristics of a large coverage, the lot cover area, as well as in terms of height. And since we are developing our new dwelling unit over there, so I will request that it should not be compared with the old existing houses, because it is the new building, and it should be and it is actually very similar to the new houses which are being developed. And I would like to also stress that we didn't get any objection or any comments from the team of community planning, which actually reflects that our variances are actually minor in nature. And apart from that, talking about the story buildings which are in the neighborhood, which our fellow neighbors has specified that they are usually 1 story or 1.5 story. I would like to address that issue that there are certain developments in the neighborhood which are actually 2 stories also. For example, 194 and 174, which I've already mentioned also, that they are new developments and they are 2-story buildings with more height than the permitted one. And in the last, I will request the committee to consider application, since we are eliminating one of the variants and the rest of the variants are really minor in nature.
Okay, thank you, Kulvinder. Members of the committee, any comment, any remark? Okay, all right, thank you, Kulvinder. I just want to check. There are 2 conditions of urban forestry And are you aware of those conditions?
Yes, yes, we are.
And you have no concerns with them? Staff would
Yeah,
like to.
we will get the we
Okay.
will get the forestry application clearance, and then we are okay with that.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Staff, you have something for us?
Through the chair, I just wanted to clarify. I thought I heard that a variance was being eliminated. I wasn't. I just want to make sure I heard that correctly.
Are you, Kulvinder?
Yes.
Kulvinder,
Yes,
can you
the
confirm,
variance
please?
number 2. Yeah, the variance number 2, which is regarding the building length, will be eliminated. It is of 17.22 meters, and we will be proposing till 17 meters,
Oh, I see.
which is the permitted one.
I didn't catch that. Okay, so I just want to recap. So you have 5 variances on the application, and you are withdrawing variance number 2, and you will comply with the zoning regulation for the building length.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, and which will eventually affect our variance number 1, since we will be eliminating the variance number 2, which is of building length, and it will actually eventually affect our variance number 1. So we will be reducing the proposed area from 348 meter squares to 345.5 square meters.
Okay, and are you confirmed with the math for the floor area?
Yes, we are.
Okay, and that would be 245 point something? Sorry,
It's 345.
345. Okay, so would you like to modify that, or would you just like to keep that open?
We would like to modify.
The floor area?
Modify in the we will modify in the upcoming revision application.
No. Okay, so for the purposes of the decision today, I understand you are withdrawing variance number 2, and that it is going to affect the calculation for variance number 1 for the floor area. Do you have an affirmative number for the floor area, or would you like to keep that you want to revise to, or do you want to keep it at 348 square meters?
Oh no, I have the revised calculation number, the exact number. The exact proposed area which we're gonna do is like 345.5 square meters.
Okay, 345.5 square meters. Staff, do you recommend
Yes,
rounding, or do you just?
No, I understand that. I guess my suggestion to the applicant is in the future, if they are looking to modify variances, please provide that in writing to staff in advance of the hearing, preferably in a public hearing notice with a strike-through showing your edits, so it's very clear. So we can share that with the committee members, and we could also post that on the screen so members of the public can understand what's changing. Thank you.
Okay, so maybe that's a good idea. Brian, would you be able to pull up the notice and just kind of show the strike through and with the revised calculation so that both the applicant and residents and the committee members are clear? Perfect. Floor, but given the minor nature of this amendment, it's okay for us to accept it. But for all those who are listening, be mindful if you're making changes on the committee, on the floor, on the hearing day, the committee may not be able to entertain those revisions. Okay, so now we have a good understanding of the amended application. Committee members, now we take the matter into committee. If you've seen the amendment, the applicant has confirmed that they have no concerns with the urban forestry conditions. Can I have a motion now? Or if there are any remarks at this time? Member Said?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am ready to move a motion to support this application as amended, whereas variance number 1, the proposed floor area has been reduced to 345.5 square meter, and variance number 2 has been eliminated, subject to the condition of urban forestry.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. May I have a seconder, please? Member Taylor, please go ahead.
I'll second that motion, Madam Chair.
Okay. All in favor of this motion? The motion's carried. The application has been approved as amended, subject to conditions of urban forestry. Thank you very much. And that brings us to the end of our 1:30 p.m. time slot. Thank you very much. So committee members, we have 8 minutes to get to the next slot.
Through the chair, the time slot, the time actually started at 4 p.m. Just so the committee members are aware, for the remaining times, for the items in the 4 p.m. time slot, there are 3 items with speakers. One has 2 speakers. The other 2 have 1 speaker each.
Okay, all right. So I guess I can, committee members, is it okay if I go right into the 4 p.m. slot and start that? Member Macaulay?
Madam Chair, I think we're falling asleep with all these applications and applicants. Can we have a 5-minute break, please?
Okay, fair enough.
I second that recommendation. I need a nature break.
Okay, all right. So time right now is 4:23. We will see you at 4:30.
Thank you.
Okay.
Through the chair, for viewers, for the who want to continue watching the hearing, please log into the YouTube. For the YouTube viewers only, please log into the PM Part 2 session on the City Planning YouTube channel, and we will be reconvening at 4:30. Thank you.